Hey guys, my name is Ali and I'm a data analytics manager working in Oslo, Norway. This is the 6th video in my Power BI for Beginners series, and in this video we're going to take a look at how to build a dashboard in Power BI. In the previous video we looked at how you can transform data in Power BI, so if you haven't done that before then check out the link in the description and watch that part first. Jumping back to this video, the focus is on building a dashboard in Power BI. We have the data that we want, it has been transformed and cleansed, and we can now build a dashboard with some measures and some visualizations. So let's begin and take a look at that. We are now in Power BI. I have a blank canvas. As you can see, there's nothing there. And I have some data, which is actually the same data that I prepared in the previous video. So if you want to do this, if you want to follow along, look at the previous video, transform the data, and you can also do this. Otherwise, you can just check out the description. I'll put the data set there also if you want to just load it in and just follow along. But right away, let's just notice a couple of things. You can see we have orders. We have a couple of columns with a sigma, which means they are being interpreted as numbers. So we can actually use those to create some calculations. Now, I know, we have orders, we have some sales, some profits, we have some dates, we have some categories. So we're just gonna make some simple elements, and I'm just gonna show you guys how to make a basic dashboard. The first thing that we want to do is we want to create a measure. Now, what a lot of people do is that, let's say you select a bar chart. You get this element, and then you need to drag something into the element from the fields to be able to create a visualization. So if we create, if we drag category to the axis, you can see we don't get anything yet, but the moment you drag sales to the values, it is showing you something. But what it is actually doing, it is using it's almost interpreting the column itself and then deciding what it wants to do with it. Because you can see now, when I click on the values on this down button, you can see that it's giving you a bunch of options of what you can, how can you interpret this number column when you use it in an element. Now, we don't want to do that. We want to create a measure, and this is important, and it'll just become more and more important for you to understand what is measures, and especially something called DAX, which stands for Data Analysis Expressions. But let's start with the measure part. Let's start slowly. So I'll make a new measure. I'll right click the table, new measure. You can also click up here, new measure. And the first thing that I'll do is I want to give the measure a name. So because I know the column is called sales, I can just name it sales, and I'll go equal. So the first part before the equal sign is the name of the measure. The remainder is some sort of function that I'm going to use in combination with one of the columns. So I'll go sum, parentheses, and let's find the sales column. Great. So now, it's actually because of it's the same name as the column, and you can't have that. So let's just call it total sales. Fine. Great. So now, if we look now down left, you can see I have one new item with this calculator sign. This is a measure, and then it's already predefined what is the function in that, because I chose a sum. So let's do that. Let's use that. So I can do the same thing. I can drag out category to the axis. I can take the total sales, drag it to values, and you can see we now get a graph. Same result, but I have been specific in the purpose of the measure. It's very important. If you want to learn Power BI well, you got to be specific in the different elements and the transformations and the measures and in everything you do. Try not to let too much, don't leave a lot of, how can I say this, loose ends in the hands of the software. As the developer, you need to understand, why did I use this function? Why did I name it this? Specific. But okay, so now we have a measure. Now, before I start to add different things, I want to kind of create a basic layout. So I'm going to add a text box on top. I always do this. It's something that I like to do. And I'll just call this Power BI Demo Dashboard. And I'll make this 16. I'll bold it up. Great. We now have a header in our dashboard. Great. I'm going to make the background. I like to give the background a nice gray color. And let's put the transparency to 50%. So now you can see the header kind of pops a little bit. It's easy to see where the header is now. Great. Now, because we're going to add elements, what's great about Power BI is that you can filter different measures freely by adding what we call slicers. So you can see you have the visualizations here on the right side. You have the fields, and on your visualizations, there's a lot of different elements that we can play around with. And this is the one that we're going to use to filter our visualizations. So let's add a slicer. Let's do that. So I'll add category. Great. Now I can filter my calculations, my measures on the category. We can add that. And let's just add one more just for demonstration purposes. So we can add, actually I'm going a little bit fast. I'm actually clicking it, Control C. I'm doing all of this just by memory, but Control C, Control V, I get a duplicate. I line it up, Shift, one down, it moves down a specific increment, which just gives it a nice, all of the different spacings between the elements has the same number of pixels, which just creates this nice frame. It's a very detailed thing that you kind of get into as you get more experience. So we have category, we can go subcategory on this one. Great. So now we have filters for categories and subcategories. Awesome. Now I want to add some visualizations, and I want to use that measure that I showed you before. So you can just kind of play around with this, but the main ones are there's bar charts, donut charts, or pie charts, and line charts. So let's just make those basic elements. So we can add the donut chart. I'll put it over here. Let's not make it too big. Okay, let's say we go with this. Great. And we can go, let's go category on the details, total sales on the values. Okay, so we have a donut chart. Awesome. And then, maybe I wanna let's move it over here, and we can add a KPI also, just for the sake of it. And notice I work quite systematically, so I'll line it up, Shift, one to the right. I'll drag total sales in. And then 2.3 million, great. Then I'll add the donut chart maybe next to that. And right away now, if I click on the different elements, you can see it's working. We're filtering that calculation as needed. So really now it's just up to me to just add other elements that make sense to kind of present the numbers in a sensible way to the end user who is trying to understand their data better. So let's go to, we can, it's really just, oh, sorry, that was wrong. It's really up to yourself. You can add a bar chart. Let's do that. Because when you have the measures created, then it's really just up to how do you present the measure to the user. So we'll add it to values. We can go, let's look at sales for the different regions. We can do that. Or else maybe let's do something more granular. Let's do product name. Okay, you can go to the formatting pane. There's a lot of different options there. Turn on the data labels so it's easier to understand what are the different values for the different product names. You can even drag it over here to make a little bit of room. I'll actually make this one smaller, and I'll move that to the left, copy it. Can even line this up right next to it. And what's also great is I can take the region, and if I add the region now to category, I actually replace it in the previous pie chart. So now I have one pie for the categories, one for the regions. And maybe the last thing I want to do, just for once again demonstration purposes, let's add a line chart like this, and let's go order date on the x-axis and total sales on the values. So now you can see sales over time for all of the data in the table. You have the different categories and the division of sales between their region, different sales for those, and by the product names. So just by making one measure and understanding which columns to use and kind of how to sort it, already there's quite a bit of things, visualizations and knowledge that we can draw from this. I can click furniture. I look at only furniture data. I can look at, bookcases. I can see how that is sold. Oh wow, there was one day there was some, huge sales of bookcases in 2015. Okay, I can click in the different pies. I can click on the product names. It's quite a lot of things that you can do now, but there are some very essential concepts that I have covered here, and that is, you got to make the measure. You got to, get the slicers out, put them in the right places, put the KPIs and the donut charts on top. Make sure that the bar chart is horizontal so it's easy to read the long product names. Make sure that the line chart has enough width because it is something that is showing over time. So you want to make sure it does that. But this is just an introduction. It is what a dashboard could look like. It is how you can build a dashboard, and it is just meant as an introduction. As I said, I'll add this dataset in the description if you want to try it out yourself. Other than that, that's really just what I had for this introduction. So that is how you can build a basic dashboard in Power BI. Sometimes you only need one page, other times you make several pages to help the business analyze their data. If you have any questions, then let me know in the comments and I will do my best to help you out there. If you are new to Power BI and you want to learn some more, then check out some of the videos that you can see on the screen right now.